What a freaking game, guys. First and foremost, let me just say great effort, amazing performance by the Giants. Let me just rephrase that. Amazing performance by the Giants defense. Given the circumstances, what more could we ask for as fans? It was an amazing effort by the team as a whole. We had an opportunity towards the end of the game, with about halfway through the fourth quarter, about 8 minutes left to go. We were still down by only one score, and we just weren't able to pull it out this time. Very unfortunate. We just couldn't get it done. Plain and simple, though, our offense let down our defense tonight. Period. Let's just get one thing straight, though. If Saquon Barkley plays in this game, it is a completely different story. Evan Ingram, Shepard, Gallman, all of them aside, without one player changes this entire game. I'm going to get into that as we go. We took an undefeated team to the brink. We made them crap their pants tonight. If I'm New England, I'm a lot less confident exiting this game as I was entering. There's no question about that. Quite honestly, you escaped by the skin of your teeth. I mean, the final score doesn't tell the whole story, of course. The final, of course, being 35-14. But that doesn't exactly show some of the ridiculous plays and non-plays that were made by the Giants leading to scores, and that also kind of is skewed at the end of the game. You know, our defense was absolutely exhausted after our offense is doing absolutely nothing to move the ball for them. We give up a score there at the end. Garbage time points makes it look like a completely different ball game. But for, like I said, up until about 8.5 minutes left in the fourth quarter, it was a one possession, a 7-point game. What more could we really ask for? And I mean, where do I begin with the mistakes made by the team? I mean, a blocked punt that resulted in a score. Several interceptions, 3 total, that led to good field position, some of which led to scores. And then a fumble at the end by a guy that, I'm sorry, but he's a practice squad player. He has no business being anywhere near a starting running back spot at this point in his career. Anyways, guys, this is the official Week 6 Thursday Night Football New York Giants versus New England Patriots full game review and reactions. Welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for clicking on the video. And just to start off, one more time, just going to give it up to our defense. Absolutely amazing performance. Were they perfect? No, they were not. But they gave it absolutely everything they had, made big plays when they mattered most. And time after time after time, when we needed a stop, they came up and got it. Whether it was on 3rd down or 4th down, they really showed out in this ball game. When you're on the field for nearly 3/4 of the game, you're gonna break eventually. I mean, they bent a lot during the game, and right at the end, I mean, after time after time after time, our offense is just getting nothing done. You're gonna break. They were literally on the field for nearly 3/4 of this ball game. Time of possession was absolutely dominated by the Patriots. Quite honestly, our defense looked the best that it has all season. Was it a little bit more impressive against a team like Washington? Yes. But given the degree of difficulty, this was far more impressive. Washington was nowhere near the skill level of the Patriots, obviously. And we were, like I said, for the most part, able to shut them down. Tonight, I've said it before and I'll say it again. Marcus Golden is showing why he has been an absolutely phenomenal free agent pickup for the Giants. He is making several Giants fans look very foolish for doubting him and cursing the Giants for signing him in free agency. He has balled out and he continued to do so tonight, pretty much leading our defense. He ended up with half a sack, a fumble recovery, and as you can see here, he returned that fumble all the way into the end zone for a touchdown. Big score by our defense. He wasn't the only one that showed up today to play. Lorenzo Carter, who's been battling a pretty serious neck injury for a number of weeks now, finally was able to get on the field and show why he is one of the Giants' favorites on this team in terms of pass rush. He was getting pretty consistent pressure on Brady all night. He did end up with a sack and 2 total QB hits. Big effort from him in getting this game as close as it was. Now, there were a couple of guys that I was admittedly very critical of early on in the season. A lot of guys that I felt like shouldn't be on the field, but they did show up in this game. David Mayo was everywhere. He is all over the field. He was making big plays for us consistently throughout the game. He's the type of guy, though, that goes 100% constantly. A few times tonight, he did overshoot a couple of guys who were able to get around him. But in terms of run support, he was big tonight. He was getting in and stopping the running back. Great job by him. As I said, I was very critical of him throughout the year. But yeah, total for tonight for him, 12 tackles, half a sack. Big game from him. And now another guy I was critical of, and he was well on his way to having a complaint-free night for me. But Jornus Jenkins did end up getting a defensive PI in the third quarter against Julian Edelman. So there is that one knock against him tonight. But he as well played a great game. I mean, he was pretty much head up all night with Julian Edelman, which is a tough task. Very underrated wide receiver, which is strange to say because of what he has put into this game and what he has done in the past. But nonetheless, good performance. He was actually able to intercept Tom Brady, as you can see here, and that was immediately following Daniel Jones getting intercepted. So big momentum swing from him. Good job tonight. It's tough. I mean, Brady had a lot of time. We were able to get some decent pressure on him, but it is one of those things. Though his quote comes to light again, where when someone has 10 seconds, how do I guard somebody for 10 seconds? And that did show up tonight. Don't get me wrong, he did get beat a few times, but overall a good performance. But as I said, it was not a perfect defensive performance tonight. There were a few guys that just utterly disappointed and have yet to show up this season. Firstly, Grant Haley. Haley is a liability in coverage. I mean, several times tonight, he's just getting beat by his man. And yes, he did have a very nice tackle for a loss that held the Patriots and forced them to punt. And he does that throughout the year. He does come up and make nice tackles, holding players from getting first downs, but he's just a liability in coverage. I'm begging you, when is it time to see Julian Love or Corey Ballantyne, one of these guys on the field? Give them a chance. I mean, they did get what I was very surprised to see on a couple different third down packages. These guys did get into ball games, which was so exciting to see because I've been asking for this all year. But Grant Haley just vastly underperforming, but not as badly as this guy. In addition, BJ Hill, he's just completely non-existent this season. Dexter Lawrence, although he didn't get a sack, was able to get his hands up in the face of Tom Brady, force some errant passes. Dalvin Tomlinson does what he does best. He's not a big sack guy, but he does his best run stopping. He did close the pocket a few times, though, which was nice to see. Obviously, as I already mentioned, Marcus Golden and Lorenzo Carter, big things from them. But just BJ Hill, as the weeks go on, it's really looking like that 5.5 sack rookie season last year is a complete fluke. Like I said before, for about 85 to 90% of this game, it was neck and neck. For the most part, us just down one score. We were right in it until the end, basically. But it's one of those games. Your offense continues to fail. Your defense is on the field for that long. They're just exhausted, and the Patriots pile on yardage and a final score. Makes everything look completely different than it really was. And if you look at the box score, it kind of looks like that. Realistically, though, Tom Brady was able to move the football pretty well. He was 31 of 41 passing, finished with 334 yards. No touchdowns, though, and one interception. He did have two of those annoying little Brady QB sneaks up the middle for touchdowns, but nothing through the air. Like I said in the preview video, he utilized his running backs very nicely in this ball game. We were sending pressure with the linebackers, and when that happens, there's not a lot of men in coverage. Of the 31 passes that Brady threw, nearly half, 13 of them, were to running backs. That is a large margin of passes being thrown to the running backs, and we really didn't have too much of an answer tonight. Obviously, the other threat in the ballgame, Julian Edelman had himself another good game. But really, it comes down to those short yardage situations where Brady finds these running backs who get the first down. As I said at the end of the game, some garbage yards were had. And if you look at the run game, we held them up pretty nicely all game. Take away that 26-yard run at the very end by Sony Michel, and he was held pretty well in check. I mean, overall, not too many huge blockbuster runs, a couple here and there for a first down. But again, I can't say enough about how well our defense prepared and executed against the Patriots tonight. To wrap up the defensive side of the review, all in all, a good performance. Hard-fought effort by these guys. And again, we're setting them up to fail. We're putting them on the field for way too long, giving the Patriots great field position with interceptions and fumbles. But from what I saw, no serious injuries. Definitely a confidence and a momentum boost for the defense going forward. Definitely a huge improvement for them. Hopefully they can continue the momentum. Offense is a completely different story. Now, before I get into the offense review, I'm really trying to remember how understaffed we were as a team. I'm really trying to remember that we were without Saquon Barkley, Evan Ingram, Shepard, Gallman, all those guys. Just so many little and big mistakes that led to the final score and led to us not being able to complete a comeback here. For starters, if you would have told me that this late into the first quarter, the first score of the game was going to be on a block punt where Nate Stupar is blocked too deep and it knocks off of his head, I wouldn't have believed you. As you can see right here, knocks right off the back of his jersey, right off the back of his helmet, right into Chase Winovich's hands for the first score. Already, that should not be happening. That's just a mistake made by our special teams unit, and that just can't happen, especially in a game like this. But even with that aside, all the way through about 8 minutes and 30 seconds left in the fourth quarter, we were down one score. If you would have told me that more than midway through the fourth that we were only down one score, I wouldn't believe you. This is without question the absolute worst performance by Daniel Jones that he has had to this point. He finished the game 15 for 31, 161 yards, 1 touchdown, and 3 interceptions. Jones just looked completely out of sorts tonight. He didn't show it on his face, but it definitely looked like maybe the stage got to him. I mean, obviously, lack of weapons and against I'm not going to lie, a very good defense is always going to be, a scary situation. But for the most part, he had a very clean pocket tonight. I got to give it up to our offensive line. Going up against the team leading the league in sacks, and you only allow 1, that is a incredible performance. Great job by those guys. Again, Daniel Jones, for the most part, had time to throw tonight, had a clean pocket. As I mentioned in my video prior to this ball game, we're facing the number 1 team, basically, overall on defense. Most of which in sacks and interceptions. And only allowing 1 is very commendable. Jones just seemed to be looking for his first read throughout the game. I don't know if he was worried about the pressure getting to him, but immediately from the snap, if you watch his eyes, he's staring down the guy he wants to throw the ball to. And when you have a clean pocket, go through your progression, look at your reads. He's definitely showing signs of youth and areas that need to be improved. Of course, only 22, not very worrisome, but this is a game we could have had. The worst of the 3 interceptions is without question this one here. It was a 1st and 10, and the Giants were driving, only down 1 score at this point, and immediately after he receives the snap, Jones is staring down Rhett Ellison. Doesn't even look anywhere else, and Stephon Gilmore is right there. I mean, there was talks of maybe miscommunication on the route, but either way, I mean, why are you testing Gilmore? But beyond that, I mean, it was kind of the theme of the game. The Giants defense would come up big and get a stop for us, either on 3rd or 4th down, like this one here. Give the ball to our offense, and we just couldn't move it. As simple as that. The combination the Giants went with in the absence of Saquon Barkley was, of course, John Hillman and Eli Penny. The duo combined for 44 total yards on 14 carries. Just not going to cut it. As I said, when Saquon went down, I supported the Giants' decision to not bring anyone in because we had Wayne Gallman, who performed great in Saquon's absence, but now it's clear that this is not a combination that's going to get anything done. Obviously, we didn't want to waste it on a big name like Jay Ajayi or someone like that, knowing that we're going to get Barkley back. But perhaps now looking back, hindsight's always 2020, perhaps a move should have been made. As I've said, we were in this ball game for nearly the entire game, but the final nail in the coffin was with 8.5 minutes left. Fourth quarter, Jones drops back, attempts to throw a screen pass. Hillman catches the ball but turns around, takes a big hit, immediately fumbles the football. As you can see here, picked up by Kyle Van Noy and returned all the way for a big touchdown. All I really can say here is if a different running back is in the game, meaning Saquon Barkley, that ball is not being fumbled. This is a completely different situation. Now on offense, realistically, the only notable standout was Golden Tate, who ended up getting 6 receptions for 102 yards and this beautiful 65-yard touchdown pass from Daniel Jones. Gorgeous, nearly dropped it, came in and got the score. Really on offense, it was just, we didn't have enough soldiers. Didn't have enough men to get it done. Very unfortunate, but we're moving on. So just to wrap things up here, just some key takeaways that I got from this ball game. Number one, our defense stepped up to the occasion. They rose to the occasion, stepped up against a very difficult team, but we just needed support from our offense, which we will get going forward. As players begin to get healthy and return from injury, we're going to get more support for our defense. If they keep playing like this, we have some very impressive wins coming. Number two, Jones does have a lot of work to do. It's clear why he wasn't a week 1 starter. There are still some kinks in his game. Does he show flashes of being phenomenal? Absolutely. I mean, don't get me wrong. I have no problem with Daniel Jones. He's going to continue to be our starter, but he does have some work to do. Going through his progression, finding those reads, not tossing it up as much. And of course, when he has a running back, someone to set up his pass, it's going to be different. And then lastly, my biggest takeaway, honestly, our offensive line is back to the caliber that we saw early on in the season. That was a very tough, physical pass rush team, and we were beating the line of scrimmage pretty much all game. Awesome collective performance by them. You really couldn't ask for more. Jones had pretty much a clean pocket for most of the game. Great job by them. But a loss is a loss. And yes, it was close, but close only counts in horseshoes and hand grenades, as they say. All we can do is look forward. Look forward to Arizona, try to take all the good from this ball game and bring it into that game. I will be live in attendance for that, so a vlog will be coming. Thank you all so much for the support on the vlogs. I definitely want to keep those up. And thank you for clicking on this video. That's pretty much all I got for you guys tonight. I'm exhausted. I'm ready to get to bed. Hope you enjoyed this review. If you did, please leave a like on it and sub to the channel if you haven't already. Of course, the giveaway is still on. Check out my Twitter for this autographed Devin Bush rookie card. We came into this game with the mentality, just fight to see another day. Didn't want to see any major injuries, which we didn't have, which is always good. We took the Super Bowl champions to their limit for nearly an entire ball game, and that's a very positive thing. But good night, Giants Nation, and I'll see you in the next one.